which is the Venus exploration mission that ISRO plans to launch in 2023 to study the atmosphere on Venus. Shukrayaan 1. Radar developed by NASA and ISRO for remote sensing on Earth. NISAR. Full form of NISAR. NASA ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar. The satellite that ISRO plans to launch for the detailed study of solar corona. Aditya L1. Who is the longest serving woman in space? Christina Koch. The American satellite which arrived in Jupiter's orbit in 2016, Juno. A planet having a day more than a year, Venus. India launches a vehicle with 104 satellites in February 2017, PSLV-C-37. A satellite launched by India in 2012 to study changes in the ocean, GSAT-10. The satellite which is known as the Black Moon, Mars Phobos. The planet with the largest black spot, Neptune. Spacecraft launched by NASA in 2011 to search for life on Mars, Curiosity. The planet with the biggest red dot, Jupiter. World's largest space agency, NASA. From where the Rohini satellite was launched, Sriharikota. The element found in the Sun before it was discovered on Earth, helium. State of matter in the Sun, plasma. Largest asteroid, Ceres. Largest dwarf planet, Eris. The planets where the Sun rises in the west, Venus, Uranus. The first manned spacecraft to orbit the Moon, Apollo 8. Tsunami is due to earthquake occurring in the sea. The first vehicle to copy the other side of the Moon, Lunar 3. A satellite known as the Other Earth, Saturn's Titan. Second blue moon of the year is known as Double Blue Moon. When the man landed on the moon for the first time, who was the US President? Richard Nixon. Who was the Prime Minister of India when Chandrayaan 1 was launched? Manmohan Singh. What is the name given to Chandrayaan 2 lander? Vikram. Name of the telescope used to study the Sun? Solar Telescope. The presence of the ocean was detected on which of Saturn's moons? Titan. Moon's position in size between moons, 5. What is the name given to the dust on the surface of the moon? Regolith. Who said that all the planets revolve around the Sun and not the Earth? Nicolaus Copernicus. The first manned vehicle to reach the Moon, Apollo 8. The first spacecraft to successfully land on the Moon, Lunar 19. Organization for Space Science and Technology in Europe, ESA. Full form of ESA, European Space Agency. Name given to Indian astronauts. Gaganyat. The spacecraft that orbited Pluto in 2015. New Horizon. India's first artificial satellite designed exclusively for astronomical studies. AstroSat. Who wrote the book First Men on the Moon? H.G. Wells. What is the name given to the full moon which is seen for the second time in a month? Blue moon. How many times the size of the moon is the sun? 400 times. What is the name given to the black spot on the moon? Maria. The only instrument that touched the moon during lunar mission. Moon Impact Probe. What is the name given to the visible part of the sun? Photosphere. A spacecraft launched by NASA to study Pluto. New Horizon. The closest star to the Earth after the Sun. Proxima Centauri. Scientist who designed the Indian space program. Dr. Jahangir Bhabha. The year Halley's Comet last appeared. 1986. India-French Initiative for Marine Research. Saral. The deepest crater on the moon. Newton crater. Element found on the lunar surface. Titanium. The highest mountain in the moon. Mons Huygens. Planet rotating from east to west. Venus. Indian Satellite Communications Ground Station. Vikram Station. Name of the satellite launch station at Sriharikota. Satish Dhawan Space Center. The vehicle that launched Indian astronaut Rakesh Sharma into space. Soyuz 2 T-11. After the Milky Way, the nearest galaxy to us is Andromeda. A scientist, he discovered that there are large craters and mountains on the moon. Galileo Galilei. Space station with the help of many countries. International Space Station. A massive star that hit Jupiter. Shoemaker-Levy 9. The largest of the volcanoes on Mars. Olympus Mons. The comet's tail is dust particles. The oldest man to ever travel to space. John Glenn. Eclipse of the Earth between the Moon and the Sun. Lunar eclipse. Satellite for mapping studies in India. Cartosat 1. Where did India launch INSAT-E on April 3, 1993? French Guiana. First woman space tourist. Anusha Ansari. Calendar based on the moon. Hijra calendar. In which year man landed on the moon for the last time? 1972. Who was the last man to land on the moon? Eugene Cernan. The field of study of origin and expansion of universe. Cosmology. The most abundant element in the universe. Hydrogen. The first artificial satellite to orbit the moon. Lunar 10. Who invented the telescope? Hans Lippershey. The old name of the satellite Kalpana 1. Medsat 1. The first vehicle that traveled through the moon. Lunar rover. The vehicle that launched Yuri Gagarin into space, Vostok 1. Who is the scientist who proved that the blue color of the sea is not a reflection of the blue of the sky? C.V. Raman. China's unmanned spacecraft on the moon, Chang 3. The time it takes for the Earth to orbit the Sun once, 365 days, 6 hours and 9 minutes. NASA's Rocket Launch Center, Cape Canaveral. Name of the autobiography of Aldrin Aldrin, Magnificent Desolation. America's first spacecraft, Explorer. What was the name given to the moon by the ancient Romans? Lunar. School teacher killed in 1986 Challenger spacecraft crash, Krista McAuliffe. The time it takes for the sunlight to reach the Earth, 500 seconds. The scientist who discovered that the universe is expanding, Edwin Hubble. The first spacecraft to orbit the moon and return to Earth, Zond 5. How far away is the moon from the Earth? 384,100 kilometers. How many times the gravitational force of the moon is equal to the gravitational force of the Earth? 1/6 times. India's space harbor, Sriharikota. The scientist who discovered Uranus, William Herschel. The only scientist to set foot on the moon, Dr. Harrison Jack Smith. Which is the first rocket to be launched from Tumba, Niki Apache. Tides is due to moon's attraction. What was the name of the vehicle controlled by Michael Collins during the first lunar conquest? Eagle. Who formulated the laws of motion of the celestial bodies? Johannes Kepler. Only known moon of Eris, Dysnomia. Who played hockey on the moon? Alan Shepard. Dwarf planets in the solar system, Pluto, Eris, Ceres, Haumea and Makemake. The planet known as the Earth's twin, Venus. Weather satellite jointly developed by India and France, Megatropics. Who entered the lunar spacecraft Eagle when it reached orbit? Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin. How far away from the Earth the moon every year? 4 centimeters. How long does it take for the moon to orbit the Earth once? 27.3 days. How many phases did the Apollo 11 operation take? 3. Where did the Apollo 1 take off? From Cape Kennedy, Florida. The moon is how many times the size of the Earth? 1/4 times. When did the Eagle and Apollo split up? When it orbits the moon for the 12th time. To whom did Armstrong first speak when he landed on the moon? To the US President Richard Nixon, who was in the White House. What were Armstrong's first words on the moon? Hello, Mr. President. Time taken for the rocket to fire during the first phase of Apollo 11, 2.30 minutes. What was used as fuel in the third stage? Hydrogen and oxygen were mixed and used as fuel. Time for the eagle to land on the moon. July 21, Indian time 1:48 am. How long after Neil Armstrong landed on the moon did Aldrin land on the moon? 19 minutes. How long after the eagle landed on the moon, Neil Armstrong landed on the moon? 7 hours. How much time did Armstrong, Aldrin and Michael Collins spend on the moon? 2 hours and 48 minutes. What they collect from the moon? 22.6 kg of soil and rock. What did Armstrong and Aldrin write on a plaque on the moon signed by President Nixon? We came here with the message of peace for mankind. Who were the passengers on Apollo 1? Virgil Grissom, Edward White and Roger Sheffey. When did the Apollo 11 passengers return to Earth? July 24 at 10:30 p.m. Who wrote the novel From the Earth to Moon? French writer Jules Verne. When did India's lunar mission announced? On the 56th Independence Day of India. Chandrayaan-2 was launched with which launch vehicle? GSLV Mark III. On which day the contact between the Vikram lander of Chandrayaan-2 and its orbiter lost? 2019 September 7. How high above the lunar surface is the connection between Chandrayaan-2 lander and orbiter lost? 2.1 kilometers. What is the name given to the rover of Chandrayaan-2 mission? Pragyan. What was the weight of the Chandrayaan-2 spacecraft? 3.8 tons. Who was the Chandrayaan-2 mission project director? Muttaya Vanitha. How old is the moon? 4.6 billion years. How many kilograms does a person weighing 60 kilograms on Earth weigh on the moon? 10 kilograms. How many hours is a lunar day? 708 hours. What percentage of the moon's surface area is visible from Earth? 59%. Diameter of moon 3475 kilometers. Clear area of the lunar surface are known as terrain. Where the Aristarchus crater is found? In moon. NASA space probe to launch man to moon by 2020. Orion. Whose autobiography is Magnificent Desolation? Edwin Aldrin. A spacecraft launched by NASA in 2013 to study about the dust particles in the moon, LADEE. Neil Armstrong has deposited on the moon a metal plate signed by the heads of state of how many countries? 158 countries. The youngest person landed on the moon, Charles Duke. The oldest person landed on the moon, Alan Shepard. The first robot to land on the moon, Lunar 1. The battery used in lunar missions, lithium-ion battery. Who gave the message that the lunar journey may be good for mankind on the metal plate to the moon for India? V.V. Giri. Which was the first Asian country to successfully return the mission to the moon? China. European country plans to send man to moon by 2029. Russia. Satellite built by Anna University. ANUSAT. The first spacecraft spent by the European Space Agency to collect information about the moon. SMART 1. The only moon in the solar system with an atmosphere. Titan. Country that sent the first monkey into space. America. Lunar eclipses are experienced on white or full moon days. Also known as the Space Shore, Florida. Stream C is located on Moon. The most abundant element on the Moon, silicon. Growing plant in space vehicles, chlorella.